I just heard that it's a possibility that Arthur Beterbiev will be facing Callum Smith.
Right.
And since you're the man with Beterbiev, then who better to ask than Iceman?
Well, to be honest, that's what I'm hearing. I've heard the same thing, but I don't have details. I'm never involved in negotiation or anything like that. But that's been my understanding for weeks. It wasn't just today. Like, I've been under the impression that that's going to be his next fight. So from what I'm reading on the internet, it appears that it's it's pretty much done.
Colin Smith is the mandatory, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, WBC. Yeah. So
I got a lot of upset boxing fans wanting to see Arthur Beterbiev against Dimitri Bivol.
Right. I'm upset too. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but people, like, a lot of times people blame the fighter, right? And I can assure everyone on earth, if it was up to Arthur, he would be fighting Bivol tonight or tomorrow morning at the latest. Like, Arthur absolutely, positively wants to fight. He would not say no. There's no chance. There's like zero chance that he would ever say no. So believe me, when the fight is not happening, it has nothing to do with Arthur. He's not holding it up, because Arthur, he's one of the guys, one of the few guys that I've seen, like, he doesn't care at all. Like, he's not afraid of anyone. Like, it's not even in his mentality. It's not in his vocabulary. So there's no way that he's holding it up. He does what they tell him. He's the fighter, and he listens to his promoter. He has nothing to do with site fees and all that kind of stuff. But I guarantee you, if you said to Arthur, who do you want to fight next? Like, who's next? He would say Dimitri Bivol. And it's not even Dimitri Bivol. In reality, Arthur wants whoever the champion is, whoever has the other belt. And that happens to be Dimitri Bivol.
Yeah, I do recall you saying that in the past, that Beterbiev wants those titles.
100. That's it. Like, he knows how boxing works, and he knows that, like, to him, it's kind of like, he reacts like a kid might react. Like, people say, well, a kid might say, well, how can there be two champions? How's that possible? There's only supposed to be one. Well, one guy has three and the other one has one. Well, they have to fight each other, right? That's what a person who doesn't know the situation would reason. That would be their idea. And that's absolutely how Arthur thinks. Like, he has to fight Bivol. He knows that, and he wants that. So any holdup is not coming from him. That's for sure.
Can I be safe to say the man to blame is Suleiman?
I mean, I honestly, I guess they said the thing the other day where he doesn't want to give a sanction to Russian fighters, or and I mean, listen, I'm not a political guy, but I know this much. China and what they're doing to Muslims in China is, it's back in the Adolf Hitler days. I mean, it's that kind of stuff that they're doing. And I don't think they're sanctioning any Chinese fighters. I think the China guys are okay with, so I don't understand how you could say Chinese guys could fight for the WBC title, but Russian guys can't. That's now you're in a political realm, right? And you're taking sides unfairly. You know what I mean? You're being biased, and that's not right. Suleiman really, I think he's making a mistake, because somebody's going to call him out. Like, I'm calling him out, but I'm nobody. Like, nobody's going to, he probably won't even hear about this. But, people are going to call him out. Somebody of high level importance is going to call him out and say, Well, how do you sanction Chinese guys to fight for the title? And they're massacring and torturing Muslims in China, and you apparently don't have any problem with that. And Arthur's Muslim. Arthur's not a fan. Arthur wouldn't fight in China. And so how can you allow that? But now you have Arthur, who lives in Canada, been here for years, and you're not going to allow him to fight. And Bivol, I guess, is in California. These guys are Russia. They're not. Arthur doesn't want that. So I think it's selective. I think he's making a mistake, and I think someone who has some sense politically should talk to him, Suleiman, and explain this to him. Because if you're going to allow Chinese fighters to fight, then I think Russian fighters should have that right as well.
I agree, 100%. But it's not just me and you having problems with this. I've talked to so many guys that are upset because they're saying what's going on with the WBC, like president here, like not allowing Russian fighters like to compete for the WBC.
Right. Yeah. It's like I say, I'm not big on the world scene, and I don't know what's going on. I know about China. I didn't know. I'll be honest. I didn't know what was happening in China because CNN and Fox, they don't apparently care, and they don't put it on. I found out, the only reason I found out is because of Arthur, because Arthur wouldn't fight the guy, Fen Mang, Feng, I'm not sure of his name, but Fen Long Man or something. And Arthur said they're torturing Muslims. And in my mind, I was like, nah, it's 2000, it was 2022 at the time. I said, it's the year 2022. They don't do that anymore. And I started researching, and apparently they do. They're torturing people, and I heard they're shaving their heads. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff we're talking about today in the civilized world, and they're doing this. So I think Suleiman needs to, if he's going to be political, he's got to be, also intelligent. He's got to know what's going on here. And if he does know, he can't be biased. You're holding Arthur back, who hasn't been, living in Russia for years. And Bivol, I guess, hasn't either. And meanwhile, you have China doing what they're doing. And as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I know, Chinese boxers have held WBC titles and are fighting for WBC titles. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you and I know that politics and sports shouldn't be mixed.
Right. Of course not. I mean, once you get, I'll give an example. Just happened today. Al Bernstein, right, for ESPN, Showtime. I've known Al a long time. Like, he covered my fights back in the day, and we were on a TV show together, Knockout, and he's very, very political. And I'm not. I don't really know that much, but he's political, and I noticed it recently, and he's talking about politics, and he's really aggressive. He's I guess he's a Democrat. I guess the way that's the gist I get, and he's really aggressive. So when people say things like really strong opinions, I'll comment, and I commented a couple times. I say, yeah, what do you think about this? I mean, you're saying this, but this is happening. Kind of like with the situation. It's like in a comparison. Like, I would say to him, well, you're stopping the Russian guy, but what about the Chinese guy? And yesterday he blocked me. Al blocked me on. It's just crazy. Like, I've known this guy for 30 years, and we've always talked. And just because I questioned his politics, he blocked me. This is a 60 whatever he looks like. I don't know, 65 whatever he is. This is a grown man. This is a man of position, and the politics have twisted him. And he's blocking people like me. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, you got to be careful, apparently. But sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes I don't care about your feelings. We have things to say, and I can't tiptoe. I will, but I'm not going to tiptoe for the rest of my life around everybody's feelings. Somebody's going to have to get offended in here. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to get some abuse, because we can't agree with everything you say. And Al, apparently, if you don't agree with everything he says, you're getting blocked, and that's pretty crazy. So I'm not a fan of the politics, but like with Arthur, I have to deal with the politics because they're bringing it into the game. They're affecting his career because he's Russian. Arthur's not that type. He's not. He doesn't want them to invade Ukraine. Arthur's not thinking about that. He's got his family he's worried about. So I think that the sports needs to leave the politics alone and just worry about the sports.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't know what it is about those that are into the politics. They're so sensitive. I noticed that myself.
Crazy. It's crazy. I didn't expect that from him. I honestly didn't. I'm surprised. But, you see people and they're like normal, everyday people, but then you say something about something they disagree with politically, and they literally become like different people, and you're like, whoa, like you're taking a little, serious here, relax. And, yeah, politics is like, they say alcohol shows you who the people really are, but I think politics does too. So, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. That's why I don't drink.
Yeah. I mean, I don't drink, not for that reason, but yeah, I guess some people speak their mind, but I speak my mind anyway. So you don't have to, threaten me with getting me drunk because I don't drink anyway. But I'll tell you, I don't need to be drinking or have an altered mind to tell you what I think.
I think you mentioned this to me before, where some guys they're fanatics of a fighter, but they're not actually boxing fans. They just root for one guy. And
right. Well, I was comparing like Pacquiao and Mayweather fans to Democrat and Republican. Like they're similar. Like a Mayweather fan will never give Pacquiao credit, and a Pacquiao fan will die before he gives Mayweather any credit at all. So it's like you're a boxing fan and you know boxing, you've been watching boxing, but you're not going to give either of these guys, depending on your affiliation, you're not going to give them any credit. So right away, even though you've been watching boxing for 20 years and you got the pay-per-view and you got a DAZN subscription and you buy Ring Magazine every week or every month, I can't take you seriously because everything with you is either Mayweather or Pacquiao. You don't have it in you to admit that the other guy might be pretty good. He might be really good. You can't admit that he deserved to lose the fight. Pacquiao lost that fight, but you have people to this day saying he got robbed. And I'm going, your credibility is obliterated if you believe that. Like, that's insane. And that's what we have in politics. People will follow one side, and no matter what happens, and they'll do the same stuff. They'll say the same things, and they'll criticize one guy and praise the other guy for saying the same exact thing. It's really, really like they should do a study on people who are like that and really find out how that happened.
It's funny you mentioned Pacquiao because, I had so many arguments with Pacquiao fanatics back in the day when Pacquiao was fighting Marquez.
Right.
And I just never understood why Pacquiao fans wouldn't give Marquez credit.
Because they're idiots. I mean, really, like it is what it is. They're idiots. Like you have to be able to. I could look at my own fighter. I've been in fights. I remember a fight, pro championship fight, and before the bell rang, before the decision was made, and in the ring, and my guy was like, "Man, what do you think? What do you think?" I said, "I think we lost." He's like, "What?" I go, I don't think we won. Like, I think we lost. And we won. We got the decision. And I was like, I don't think we deserved that one. It is what it is. Like you got to be real. You can't just because you're going for your guy. You can't let that strip you of all your knowledge. You know what I mean? And I try to keep it as real as possible because I have a lot of friends in the boxing world and they know me. And I don't want them to be listening to me going, what's he doing? Like, what's he doing? He knows better than that. Like he's selling out. You know, he's brainwashed, you know, whatever the case may be. It's like when guys get on, like they'll be a broadcaster, and so they have to go for the house fighter, the network fighter. You know, they have to kind of lean towards him. I couldn't do that. Like if I say I'm working for HBO and the HBO favorite is getting massacred, excuse me, I have to say it. I can't say he's winning. I can't say he's blocking all the shots. I mean, you know, you got to tell it like it is. And, you know, that's if everybody was like that, we wouldn't have so much conflict. But some people get mad just because they know you're lying. They know you're brainwashed. They know you've been manipulated. And when they raise their voice, they're trying to, because they think you're so far gone that they need to raise their voice so you can hear them because you're too far away from reality. So they've got to speak up and try and get through to you because what you're saying is insane. And, you know, you're seeing that a lot. You're seeing that a lot more now.
You know what? One guy once told me, when you watch a fight on Showtime or even HBO back in the days, turn the sound off.
Yeah, yeah. They say it'll be a much different fight. You know, and that's even a guy like me with my experience, right? I've watched a fight and Larry Merchant might say, oh, what a left hook. And in my mind, I'll be like, yeah, it was a good left hook. Because he said it. Like if he didn't say it, I might not even noticed it. You know what I mean? But so the announcers could certainly manipulate you. They could say, you could be watching a fight, not sure what's going on, and one of them might comment like, yeah, the blue corner, you know, his aggression is really starting to pay dividends. And that'll manipulate. You'll be like, yeah, it is kind of paying dividends. You didn't even think of that. You hadn't even noticed it. But because he said it, now you're saying it. And then the next day, you're at work telling everybody, yeah, the pressure he put on, it really, you know, paved the way for his victory. It's like, man, the guy told you that in the 6th round. Like you heard it. You know what I mean? We're easily manipulated people. We're a funny species. That's for sure.
We sure are. But hey, it's fight week, eh? It's Canelo versus Ryder, and
is that this weekend?
It's coming up. Yes.
Really? You know what?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen anyone talking about it. I didn't even realize it was this week.
I don't think too many boxing fans are excited, interested,
right,
because of Canelo's opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Ryder, you know, and it's kind of like you want to see Canelo with Arthur or Bivol, you know, but I don't know. I don't really know what to say.
But speaking of John Ryder, he fought Callum Smith. So if you guys, you know, were to beat Callum Smith, as everyone already predicts that Arthur Beterbiev should have no problems against Callum Smith, then who knows what could happen? Maybe you guys might end up fighting Canelo.
I mean, my gut feeling behind it all, behind the bravado and the interviews and whatever, I don't think Canelo wants to fight Arthur, and I don't blame him at all. Like, I don't blame him. He's not big enough. You know, he wants, I'm sure he wants to wait until Arthur gets old and starts showing signs of slippage, which he's apparently not really doing. You know, he's still looking good. But I've said it from the beginning, I don't blame Canelo at all for not wanting to fight Arthur. Canelo's a smaller guy. He's not a big guy at all. Triple G made Canelo look small. Arthur makes Triple G look small. Arthur would make Canelo look like a little person, you know. You know, I think he'd just be too strong. And the only thing is they're probably waiting until they see some sign of something that they like, and then maybe they'll give it an opportunity. Because I always say, back in the day when you had Sugar Ray and Duran and those guys, they would have fought Arthur already if they were in that weight. The fight would have been made. There would have been. Sugar Ray Leonard didn't wait. I mean, he fought Tommy Hearns in 1981. I mean, Hearns knocked out Cuevas in 80, and he fought him at the end of 81. I mean, that's a different breed of people. That's a different mentality that we're kind of lacking. I mean, look at Crawford and Spence. They're not even fighting. There's not even discussions anymore. That is so insane to me. Like, I literally don't care at all if they fight. I hope they don't fight. Literally, I hope they don't. They deserve not to get the fight with each other, because this is just ridiculous. I think he's 35 years old, and they're waiting for whatever it is they're waiting for, but I'm not waiting for it.
I completely forgot about those two guys.
There you go. They're supposed to be the two most talked about welterweights in the world, and you forgot about them, and I don't care about them. So,
but speaking of Beterbiev and Canelo, I have a problem with it, because if Canelo went up to fight Bivol, why wouldn't he fight Beterbiev? He's already gone up.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. He doesn't want to fight Arthur. This is not brain surgery. This is not Chinese arithmetic. I mean, he doesn't want to fight him. He fought Bivol because Bivol has said before that he could make 168. So his frame is not large. Arthur is large. Arthur used to be a 201-pound amateur. So it's no secret. He felt Bivol was the weaker guy and less power and less physicality and all that. And he still got beat. He outsmarted himself. All that fight was him and his team outsmarting themselves. Nothing more.
But now I hear that Canelo, if he were to get past John Ryder, as he should, he wants a rematch with Bivol at 175. So it doesn't make sense if he's willing to go back up to fight Bivol in a rematch. Why not fight Beterbiev?
Because you figure by the time that happens, and if he wins, then by the time he fights Arthur will be 40 years old by then. That's what he's waiting for. I mean, it's not even a secret anymore in my eyes. Like, obviously that's what they're doing. They're mentioning everything except Arthur. Do you notice how many guys have you heard call out Arthur, like really want to fight this guy? Nobody. There's nobody yelling for Arthur. There's nobody coming to his fights and challenging him, and it's pretty clear what it is.
You know what would be crazy is if John Ryder does what Buster Douglas did to Mike Tyson and pulls the upset against Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it. I don't see that happening, but who knows? I guess it could happen.
So what happens with Beterbiev if he can't get Canelo, if he can't get Bivol? What happens?
I mean, I'm not involved in that end, but maybe Benavidez. Benavidez has said he would step up, and he seems like the type of guy that would want to do that would go through with it. And he's a younger guy, so he has that mentality. He doesn't seem to be as much of a businessman as the other guys do, and so maybe that could happen, but. I don't know, because I don't believe anything till I actually see it happen.
Speaking of Arthur Beterbiev, I'm excited to see his sparring partner, Clay Waterman, in action.
Yeah, he'll be at the Turning Stone in June, so I'm looking forward to seeing him as well.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting for that U.S. pro debut.
Yeah, and he's actually, as I understand it, he's fighting a kid that I actually sparred with about 4 or 5 years ago in Florida. When I was living in Florida, you know, I used to spar with certain guys, and I sparred with this kid. I think he was like 6-0 at the time, and now he's 10-0 or whatever he is. And apparently, that's who Clay is fighting. So it'll be interesting because I'll be working the corner. I'll be in there with Clay. I'll be a part of his corner team. So that'll be kind of unique.
I guess what you have to sit back and wait and see what happens with Arthur Beterbiev's next opponent. But for now, it's looking like Callum Smith, right?
Right. That's what all indications are pointing to. Yep.
Well, John Scully, as always, I appreciate you taking your time, and I'll be seeing you if everything goes right. I'll be seeing you at Clay Waterman's fight and the International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend.
Right. Yes, sir. I'll be there. So I'll be in touch with you, and we'll meet up when we get there.
Yes, sir.
All right. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Iceman. I appreciate it.